Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beginnings, the show that asks, where do creative people come from? My name is Andy. I'm the host of the show and a writer and performer based in Los Angeles, California. How are you all doing this week? Hey, three things. Three great things. One great thing for all of us. Another week and no global thermonuclear war. Wonderful. Things are going swimmingly. I mean, at least in the humanity not being annihilated category. So, okay, great. That's great for everyone. Hey, for me, Naomi and I, we just adopted two beautiful kittens. So that is bringing some much needed joy into this house. And number three, why? Hey, this is again something for everyone. Today's episode, because today is wonderful. I am talking to Stephanie and Chris of Big Harp. And if you don't know who they are, why, folks, I'm going to read you their bio right now. Originally from the San Fernando Valley and the Sandhills of Nebraska, respectively, musicians Stephanie Druten and Chris Sensney met 2 decades ago when they became both romantic and creative partners, getting married, having 2 children, and performing together as Big Harp. In 2011, they released their first album, White Hat, followed by Chain Letters in 2013, and now 13 years later, they've released their third record, Runs to Blue on Saddle Creek, and folks, it is fantastic. I have a somewhat large blind spot in my musical knowledge. I haven't listened to a lot of bands on Saddle Creek, so when I was sent Runs to Blue, that was my first time listening to Big Harp, and from song 1, I immediately connected to it. It is such a good album. I was waking up with their music in my head, and so I was like, I have to talk to Stephanie and Chris, and I'm so glad I did because they're great people. Stephanie grew up here in Los Angeles in the Valley, and Chris grew up in, like I said, the Sandhills of Nebraska in a very small town, and we will talk about what all of that meant for both of them and a ton more. It was just a joy. They were just a fun couple to talk to. Outside of being interesting people, it was a nice conversation. So I hope you enjoy our talk as much as I enjoyed recording it. Before we get to the episode, just want to give you a preview of some of the folks I have coming up on the show. Josh Margolin, who is the writer and director of one of my favorite films of 2024, I believe, Thelma. It's great. It's on Hulu if you have not seen it. Doug Gillard from Guided by Voices and his own music. He has a new album coming out that's really great. Felicia Douglas from Ava Luna and Dirty Projectors and a ton of other stuff. These are all great conversations. Stay tuned. I guess subscribe. I haven't said that in years, but sure, why not? Why not subscribe, like, whatever the other things you're supposed to do for podcasts and videos. So do all that, but before you do, listen to today's episode with Stephanie and Chris. Just roll into it, and then I'll find a place that seems nice to like start it. Although maybe we don't start a discussion of childhoods on like the temperature difference between Los Feliz and Studio City.
It's pretty important.
But isn't that? I feel like that's what people say is like the most boring, mundane kind of conversation you can have is about the weather, right?
But it's there all the time.
I know. I talk about it all the time. I guess I'm boring, but I do.
I think probably the temperature difference between the city and the valley is what formed you the most, right, Stephanie?
Wow, maybe.
Well, yeah, you grew up in the valley. Okay. I mean, you grew up in proximity, I think. And you tell me how you felt about it, because I'm from Pennsylvania. So my proximity to any of this stuff was distant.
Sure.
Did you feel like this had a pull on you in any way, this being creating things in general?
Oh, being in LA?
Yeah.
No. Honestly, I could say honestly, I came from a very punk rock, DIY, you don't want any fame, any attention, kind of valley world. So, really, no. I can say that honestly. I have a Midwestern mom and a Valley dad. But but no, there I really didn't have that pull.
Wait, are we? I think maybe we're near the same age or so. I don't know if people want to say their ages, but like 40s or so, somewhere around there.
I will totally say my age. I bet I'm older, but 47.
Yeah, same age. We're the same age.
Okay, great. Great. What a great age.
Chris, how old are you?
43.
Okay. So I think it still stands for you probably. But like, did you both grow up with the kind of like, we're not going to sell out kind of feeling?
There's definitely some of that, I think.
No, so my scene that I grew up in was so hardcore that, like, to our detriment, where it was like, do you remember the label Crank?
Yeah.
It's like such a small label, right? So the bands I was playing with had a label called Sunflower Tribe. There was this band Still Life, and I feel like Crank wanted to put out a record of theirs, and they're like, no, that's selling out. So it was like deeply, deeply anti any sort of commercial anything.
Wait, and Chris, I'm gonna bounce this back to you then. But Stephanie,
Mm-hmm.
wait, what did selling out mean? Because that just seems like
It's ridiculous. Like,
yeah.
And it was honestly, I think, for some reason, this particular crew, I don't know I mean, that's the best example I can give you. Like, if being on a label, an independent label like that, is it questionable because you're not putting it out yourself? You know what I mean? Like, you have to like truly put it out yourself. And I mean, any kind of like licensing or anything like that would have been out of the question. You would have been such a poser, sellout. You know.
Sure, that seems for the era, right? For the 90s, that seems correct. Like, yeah, we're not going to license this. We're not going to if I can't even think of a major. What was Warner Brothers? If Warner Brothers wanted to put this out, we tell them to fuck off. But
yes,
but like, because like I was like, oh well, if Matador wanted to put out an album, well, that seems like that would be okay.
Right.
But even that, even like a small, even Sarah Records, even something small was an anathema too.
Yes. So I mean, again, it wasn't my band, so I could have the story a little bit blurry, but it was like that. It was very extreme about like what was frowned upon. You had to just really bare bones, do it all yourself, make your own. We all recorded, with the same person for free, and he was in the bands, and then we made the packaging and made the,
Mm-hmm.
you get what I'm saying.
Memories of cutting out J cards for cassettes, and folding them over. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, but okay, so I get that. But Chris, you're from Nebraska, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I feel like maybe Nebraska is the same thing as Pennsylvania in the sense of like being distant from any of this stuff. How did like the idea of making things for a living or doing it in a commercial way, did that strike you as something like you wanted to like run from, or did it even like occur to you?
I don't think it really occurred to me that much at first. I mean, I'm from such a small town that the idea of anybody from there doing anything like that didn't seem that possible, I don't think. I mean, I think I probably, listened to bands and was like, that seems like a cool thing to do. But I don't think I thought about doing it as like a career or anything. Definitely not as like a kid.
Yeah. But I mean, you didn't even think like the idea of like, the ethos in the 90s was so thick with the idea of like, you don't sell out. Where like, I remember it was a controversy when, and it got into comedy too. David Cross was such a like staunch, like, you don't do this. And then when he was in the Chipmunks movie, he either did a voice or he was just in the Chipmunks movie. It was a huge controversy. And I remember like him and Patton Oswalt were like kind of like trading blows with each other online or something like that. And that was like 2002, 3, somewhere like that. Right.
Yeah.
And then like I get here and I'm just like, yeah, I'll write on the chip. Like, yeah, sure. I'll write the Chipmunks movie. Yeah, whatever. Like, I need to make a living. I need to like put food on my table. Sure. Why not?
Yeah. I think I definitely had some of that because for me, like I wasn't in any kind of scene until I at least moved to Omaha when I was, in my late teens or like somewhere around there. So I was just kind of like reading about, music scenes and like reading interviews with bands and hearing what they were saying. So I definitely absorbed some of the like you're not supposed to sell out thing, and I think I
Uh,
did internalize a lot of that, but I didn't have the thing that you had, Stephanie, where there was like you were actually new people who were making music besides just like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
well, okay, Stephanie, talk to me about the Valley, about
Mm-hmm.
growing up there. Because again, all I know is like if we're the same age, then like I think that the same stereotypes of like the Valley girl were predominant in society in the 80s
Mm-hmm.
and all of that stuff. But that's question mark. That's not the reality.
I mean, when I was in elementary school, absolutely. I was full Valley. I was trying to throw out the accent. I had the gummy bracelets up to my elbows, lace skirt over, stretch pants, like jelly shoes, Cyndi Lauper and Madonna and yeah, and going to the mall. I mean, we still go to the mall. Chris and I love the mall. But we lived at the mall. There was this place by my house at the mall called Record a Track. Have you heard of that?
Yes, and you said that, and like I paused because like some neuron in my brain was like, "Wait, I know this."
It was so wild. It was the best time. You go to this place in the mall, and it's called Record a Track, and you can choose either to lip sync or do your own vocal, and then they have all this clothes from you to choose from, this wardrobe, and you dress up in this crazy whatever, however you want to dress, and you perform a song. So like me and my dad did Ghostbusters, very very cool version. So I think elementary school wise for me, it did feel pretty Valley centric, like stereotypical. As I'm saying like every other word right now.
You don't have the accent though. You weren't like it felt very like it wasn't that.
Oh my
so,
God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. It's okay. Yeah.
So elementary school, yes, I would say for me. And then already by the time I was 10, I guess that's elementary school too, but it didn't feel quite like that as I started getting older. Maybe it's just maturity and I was just forming, like becoming my own person more than just like what, I thought I was supposed to be. But definitely elementary school was that.
Okay. Chris,
Yeah.
what is it's Sandhills, right? Sandhills, Nebraska?
Yeah, that's the part of Nebraska. Yeah, the town's Valentine.
Valentine.
Yeah.
What was that like growing up? I think you said small town, but like was it like how small town are we talking?
So the town itself has, I think, around 2,600 people.
Oh, that's
And then
yeah, real small.
I could be wrong about this, but I believe the whole county, which is the biggest county geographically in Nebraska, has about 6,000 people and something like 100,000 cows. So there's way more cows than people.
So there's like, wait, hold on. There
I-
are
I-
100,000, six,
Yeah.
and I'm not great at doing math in my head, but it's like, that's a lot of cows
It's a
per
big
person.
ratio. Yeah, I looked it up. I think it has the most cows per capita of any county in the U.S. Cows for everybody.
Hold on, keep talking. I'm going to pull out my calculator because this is going to
Yeah,
bug me.
I could be slightly off on those numbers, but it's pretty close to that.
No,
That's pretty good. What would you do?
I think you got it.
6,000 divided
6,000?
by 100,000.
Yeah, something like that.
3 equals 0.06. I don't know what that means. I did very well in math. I got up to calculus and then
Wow.
That's pretty good.
that was a long
That
time
is
ago though.
good.
So okay, wait. I think I would have to do the other way. 100,000 divided by 6,000, but I'm not going to
If-
do that right now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me on a calculator any further. But like, so okay, so there's no one like what's the culture like? Is it dairy farming? Like what's going on?
No, it's cattle ranching, so it's kind of like it's like a ranching town. I feel like when I tell people I'm from Nebraska, they always picture like cornfields, and there's really not that much of that there in the Sandhills. It's really mostly cattle ranching is like kind of the basis of it. And then there's some tourism in that town because there is a river, the Niobrara River, and other people from other parts of Nebraska will come there and go tubing or go canoeing in the summer.
Okay, that sounds
And
fun.
so it's kind of more of like a cowboy town, really. than like a farming town.
Cowboy like old school cowboy, like a bunch of racists that like go around shooting stuff, or cowboy like, just like rugged individualist kind of thing.
A little bit of both. Probably. No, I mean there's definitely like if you go into a restaurant in town, you're going to see a lot of hats. I mean,
Yeah, no, I love that as a description.
I mean, I knew people like I remember like somebody like lost their license or something, and so they were coming into town in a wagon.
Sorry.
Like
a horse-drawn wagon
with their hat on. Yeah.
Okay.
Like that's what you do if you get a DUI in that town, I guess.
Look, I grew again. I from Pennsylvania, right near Amish country.
Yeah.
Like I said, I grew up in the Lower East Side or something like that. Got someone on a horse and a buggy. I've seen horse and I don't know why I reacted like that. I've seen people on horse and buggies all the time.
Yeah,
in Kutztown. Like
yes, it's not that crazy, I guess. Yeah,
no,
for them.
it's not.
The Amish are doing that all the time, right?
Literally, you like there's a line of you're going to Kutztown to get the bus to go back to New York, and you're stuck waiting because there's someone in front of you in a horse and buggy, and they can only go like 20 miles an hour, and so there's a line of cars behind a horse and buggy. Yes, so yeah,
right,
yeah,
that makes sense.
But like it's so small, I'm kind of curious. Sorry, there's a bunch of squirrels chasing each other. I found viscera. I'll explain. I'll explain why I'm like suddenly like looking out at the squirrels. I came out last night to take the garbage out, and there was I think possum tail attached to some viscera just kind of sitting there. I think a bird of prey. I don't know who killed the possum. I'm assuming it's a possum. It looks like a possum tail. I'm not exactly up on identifying animals just from their tail connected to some viscera, but I think a bird of prey. But now I'm like paying attention to the backyard. Like, are animals killing each other? Yeah,
are
they like what is going on?
Oh my god! If it's killer squirrels, you don't know how scared our daughter is of squirrels. It would prove her fear to be reasonable.
I was not scared of squirrels before we found dead animals. And this is like the fourth or fifth part of an ad. Again, not like I found like halves of squirrels. So who killed was it a bird of prey?
Wait, you're finding all of these dead animals? You found half of a squirrel?
We've been here for about a year and a half. So I've found in the year and a half, it's not, again, I don't know what the ratio is for a year and a half with 5. So someone do the math, but like, I don't think that's that often. I have found 5 or 6 separate instances of animal viscera.
Wait, you might have a serial killer in your neighborhood.
Do you mean like now would you count
not an animal one, not an animal
oh, you mean like someone is like saying like you're next?
Yeah, no, like a child, maybe like a young one that's like experimenting.
Like learning the ropes.
Stephanie, why would you do this to me?
I'm sorry. No, you're fine. You're fine.
I just assumed it was a hawk or something. So
it's a hawk.
I thought about that. Or an owl, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Coyote.
Could be an owl.
Maybe you have a fox.
I hope. Now I'm like, is there a child on their way to being John Wayne Gacy?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Wait, Chris.
Yeah.
Small town. Like, I thought I grew up in a small town. Like, I started bumping up against the ceiling of Reading, and Reading is like 80,000 people. And I thought that I started like bumping up against that and feeling kind of frustrated. Mm-hmm. But like, talk to me about like 2,600 people.
I don't even know if I was aware of there being a ceiling because you're kind of born with your head touching it. So there's nothing to really bump up against. You don't like hit the limit. Like I said, like as far as like playing music or anything, like I had a band in like middle school and high school, and we would play around like sometimes, but there was no pathway to try to do anything as far as that goes,
Well, then what compelled you to leave? Like what compelled you to go to Omaha in the first place?
I mean, I originally went there just to go to college because, I mean, there's not, technically there is a community college in Valentine, Nebraska, but you can't like get a degree there, and you can just take some classes, I think.
But if you had never wanted to go to college, do you think you would have been happy there?
I think I would have probably left at some
Uh-huh.
point because I just don't know what I would have done there as far as like work or what I would do. And at that time in my life, I think I wanted to be an archaeologist.
Oh,
So that
interesting.
required going to college.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Because Stephanie, you left, if I remember reading correctly online, you left school to go play music, right?
Yeah, to go tour.
Like, was it that you were pushing against, like, I don't like school, I'm going to find this thing that I want to do and just follow that? Or was it a positive kind of thing, just where you were pulled by it and I'm just going to, like, school was fine or nice or whatever, and I'm just like, it's just like, I'm doing this thing that I want to do and I'm just going to follow that. Does that make sense as a question?
A couple of different things. One, my friends were older than me, so they were graduating, and a lot of them were musicians and doing the DIY touring. So I started playing when I was about 15 around town, and started hanging out with a lot of those people who were a few years older. And so I was ready to tour as soon as I could because it looked so fun. But also, yeah, school was not really my thing anyways. I was attention deficit and, didn't struggled with grades a little bit. My parents never really expected me to go to college in a not mean way, but they just didn't see that. I was working since I was 15 too, had jobs. So yeah, I mean, and then I loved playing music. I didn't think of it still, even when I was touring, it wasn't like, oh, this is my career now, It was just a fun thing to do with friends.
Was there any thought that this is what I'm going to do the rest of my life? Or was it just, were you in the moment?
In the moment, but that's just kind of who I am in general, I think. So it's just what I was doing.
Uh-huh. Was there ever a plan? Like, I know you can say, like, yes, that's just kind of who I am, but, like, was there ever a thought of, like, hey, this is what I want to do in the future? Or was it always just like, I just talked to someone on the show where they were kind of just like, yeah, just kind of like, I said whimsical. I don't know what the best word was, but like, it seems like that kind of thing where I'm just like, I'm going to do the thing I want to do now and we'll see what happens.
I think that's honestly more how it was. I mean, I loved doing it. I still love doing it. I still feel like that kind of like, well, I'm always going to do it, but not with the like I'll do it alongside whatever else I have to do. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not expecting it. I never did expect it. I'm still not expecting it. Even if something happened where I was making tons of money off of it, I wouldn't expect it to keep happening. You know what I mean? It would just be alongside with whatever else I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it. That is the same. I ask this a lot too, because for the first, I don't know, couple decades of my life, 3 decades or more, I was just like buffeted about without giving my path in life any kind of real thought. It was just like I would go to do something and then I would be like, oh, this is terrible. Like, I remember very vividly, I thought I would be a lawyer. I don't know. I'm like, I guess that's something you do. And I took the LSATs. And I got,
really?
Yeah, and I got I was a philosophy major in undergrad, and I was like, well, what's the thing? I don't have money. Like, I have to get a job, and what do you do with this degree? I guess you go to law school. That's a thing. And I did all the stuff you have to do, and then as I was like waiting for a reply from schools, I was like, I had a panic attack. I was like, don't do, like, my body was like saying, do not do this, do not do this, and that was like most of my life. For up until like 30, maybe.
Yeah. Well, your brain's not isn't it? It was your frontal cortex, or what is it that's still forming? Yeah. And don't they say now it's 30 or something like that?
Something like that.
I feel like that's maybe they're excusing people like me.
Yeah, I think so too. But I mean, it's fair. It's so I mean, it's so hard. How are we supposed to know what we're going to want to be doing? 10 years down the line. It's near impossible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for both of you, like, what economic class did you grow up as?
Good question. I think similar, I would say, which is middle to upper middle class for me. And Chris, I mean, it depends on the time, but yours was about the same as you got after you were 5, right?
Yeah, probably pretty similar. after that.
Wait, what happened when you were 5?
My mom married my dad. And then, uh, so before that, it was just me and my sister and my mom. And then, yeah, she married my dad who adopted me a few years after that. Uh, and he was the town doctor in Valentine.
The town doctor. It's
Yeah.
so.
Mhm.
No, yeah, when I was a kid, there were a few years where he was the only one for for the town. Maybe I think for the whole county.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So because I asked it because like, if you grow up, if one grows up wealthy,
Mhm.
you do have the space to kind of be like flit about and be like, well, I'll try this. I'll try this. I'll try this. I'm going to guess the three of us had to like,
Work.
yeah. And
Yeah.
not just work, but also like you figure out what you wanted in the margins of that, and also figure out a job you wanted to do with that. Also, like there was nothing to fall back on.
Yes, exactly. And still, still part of it. But that's why I started working when I was 15, because
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't handed everything that I wanted. There were things I wanted, so I had to work, and that was fine.
What were your jobs?
Wow, I've had a few, but I'll tell my first one when I was 15. Have you heard of Follow Your Heart, the restaurant? And
No.
Veganays, there's like
Yeah.
that it is still a restaurant and grocery store in the Valley. And I started working there at 15. I think I was a manager by 16 there, and worked there off and on. I started touring more at 17, and that's when I would leave and come back. And then I think I worked there up until I was touring with Bright Eyes more. And then what I thought was making the big bucks at the time, which was at this point would get me through a week worth of bills, but and then different jobs since then.
Yeah, but food service. See, I was supermarkets. That was like where
Yeah, exactly. Food.
Yeah. Chris, did you have jobs when you were in high school?
In high school, I didn't have that many jobs. I taught piano lessons a little bit to like kids, like
That's
kids
a good
I mean,
one.
I was a kid,
Yeah.
but they were younger than me, so I did that a little bit. And then when I went to Omaha, at first I was just in school, and then I worked at a record store for a while.
You had great jobs. You had great jobs. You taught piano and then you worked in a record shop.
Yeah,
I too worked at that record shop.
I guess honestly, I worked with at some kind of record shop a lot,
Hmm.
a few different times. I did data entry at an ad agency in LA for a minute.
Yeah.
That wasn't that fun.
No. I've had to. When I moved to New York, the small amount of money I saved was gone in like 3 months, and I was just like, any job, any.
Yeah.
It was also right after the financial crash. No, I moved. Financial crash is 2 weeks later. And
Oh,
then-
perfect timing.
so, yeah. Oh, yeah. It was lovely. It was a lovely 5 years of like
Ugh.
scrambling.
You know what I did for a job? I lived in New York for a year, and it was between I was touring with Bright Eyes and Good Life, so it was between that, like a Bright Eyes and Good Life tour, and I was a dog walker.
That's not a bad one.
No, it was a pretty nice, healthy job.
Well, okay, hold on. How well behaved were the dogs? Because I was just like, I said, oh, that's pretty good. And then I thought about walking our dog who
No.
stops
They
and
were-
smells everything.
They were really good. I only walked one at a time, and it's so what they put so much trust in you. I didn't meet any of them. It was through an agency, like any of the owners. And they give you a key to their house or a code. You go in, you get their dog, take them on a walk, write a little report, bring them in, lock up and leave. But it's just so wild that they just don't care that this stranger is just hanging out in their house. But they were all good dogs, to answer your question. It was one at a time, easy walkers. Yeah, it was a great job.
Were they all rich people? Because I
Oh yeah.
noticed that like rich people, like when you are someone who services rich people,
Mhm.
like they don't think of you at all. So it's like, yeah, you can walk through their houses because it doesn't.
It's so
They don't think
true.
of you.
Yeah, you're you're right.
Yeah, you might as well be a hammer or a screwdriver to them.
You're just a service.
You're just a service. It's true.
You're more of an act than an object.
So wait, Chris, your dad was a doctor when you were growing up. What
Hmm.
did your mom do?
She was a bookkeeper for an engineering and surveying firm in the
Okay.
town for a lot of the time, and ended up at some point kind of becoming like the boss quit and all the employees kind of bought the business.
Oh,
And so it ended up being an employee-owned business at some point, which was cool.
that's great.
Like sort of like a collective, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and but before that, I think she was a bookkeeper at other places, so she did that mostly when I was a kid.
And she became part of the socialist experiment in the
In
surveying.
surveying,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Stephanie, what about your parents?
My dad had a light bulb company. Like, I don't know how to describe it. I've always had a hard time describing it. Chris
Like
might do that.
manufacturing or
No, that's what's
wholesaling?
he's a
Wholesaling.
he's a salesman, really. But he had a whole business, and he mainly sold to like apartment buildings or grocery stores, like bulk lighting. And that's what he did. And my mom did a little bit of teaching.
Mhm.
She was a teacher, she was a preschool teacher. And then she was a stay-at-home mom too.
I think isn't it like toilets in Punch Drunk Love, but I'm imagining like a warehouse full of like. Do you guys ever see Punch Drunk Love?
Yeah.
Mhm.
With Sandler and PTA.
Mm-hmm.
But was it like a warehouse with like a bunch of light bulbs and a?
He always had an office in like the porn area of Chatsworth. Do you know that? It's like the porn capital, in the valley. There's so much like, I guess, porn that happens there. And he had this little office in the middle of that. Like we would see, people walking out and whatever, coming from their movies they were making. But there was a desk, like maybe two desks. My mom would have a desk because she also helped him. And he had a little room with a desk. And then, it was a warehouse. They would package some light bulbs there too, because they had one employee named Ray the entire time, just one employee. And it wasn't huge though. It was like a medium-sized warehouse, so not a huge one like Punch Drunk Love, just like a small little warehouse. And that's that.
Yeah, wait, two things. So it was Boogie Nights-ish. So there was the Boogie Nights
Totally.
1980 stuff going on around.
100%. Yes.
Does that get into the like atmosphere? Because that seems like a weird kind of like.
Yeah, for sure.
Both like, because you're young, so like it's stuff that's like impinging upon your youth before anyone is like ready for that to impinge upon them. Does that make sense?
Yes, for sure. But we just had a very open family. We were watching like Meatballs and Revenge of the Nerds when I was like 3. Not just kidding, but like, like young, like
Sure.
6, 7. So it was all, we were exposed, not in a bad way, in a light way.
Sure. Right. Watching
And so
PG-13 comedies.
yes, lots of them. And right, which would now be R, right? Probably.
Well, I thought some of the stuff in Revenge of the Nerds are like that's fucked up. That would never
It's
be
fucked
made
up.
now.
No, my God, I know. It's so fucked up. But so see, it was more at the time kind of like interesting and entertaining as a kid to be exposed to it. You know what I mean? Like they were so different than us. It felt like a different world. So it was interesting.
Yeah. I guess I'm just like curious about the like. I was pretty protected and naive for most of my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And just like the idea of like the adult world. I don't mean adult in like adult movies, but I mean just like adults.
Yeah.
Like kind of like of invading
Mm-hmm.
that kind of naivety. Again, for me, I'm just using my own, but like it would have felt weird for me, but obviously
I think not for me, just because of the openness and in ways exposure just through movies and TV and whatnot. It didn't feel that invasive, at least.
look, this is a huge stretch,
Yeah.
but the idea that like, you're like, oh, I kind of know what I want to do, or at least I'm like, I like playing music. Oh, I
Mm-hmm.
can go on tour now. I'm just going to leave school and go do that. That again
Mm-hmm.
seems like an adult decision. Is there
Yes.
any connection with the like there being like this adult world that has crashed into, again, I keep using these weird
Huh.
metaphors, but that's crashed into your childhood in a certain way where you're just like, oh, well, I can make adult decisions.
I don't know. To be honest, I did make adult decisions pretty young. I mean, I wanted independence pretty young. I don't know if it's because I'm second child in my family, but I did, like I said, started working at 15, not because my parents were like, time to work, child. I just wanted to. And I got my driver's license the day I turned 16, started touring at 17, had bought multiple like dysfunctional vans and,
Mm-hmm.
the years after. I don't know if it was because of any of that. But I definitely did lean adult for my age. I hung out with older people. Yeah. So maybe you might be on to something.
It's armchair psychology.
Yes, I love it. I love
Take
it.
it with 100 grains
Yeah.
of salt. Chris did the same thing. I don't mean the same exact thing, but I'm like, were you happy where you were, or were you like, I know you said that like, you wanted to go to college and that's why you went to Omaha, but like, did you feel any kind of yearning to do anything
Yeah.
outside of archaeology? Obviously, you said.
Yeah, I think I did. I mean, growing up in the town, like I knew I wasn't gonna be a rancher, and I didn't want to just like, get a job in town and live there. So I knew I wanted to do something, and I think I had an idea that there were other things out there that I wanted to do. And I mean, I was so into music and I was playing it a lot. And so I think there was like a part of me that like knew like I wanted to do something. I don't know if I knew exactly what at that time.
When you said you don't want to be a rancher, like, what was it about that?
It wasn't that I didn't want to, I just knew that I wasn't one.
Oh,
I mean,
so it was like self-knowledge. It was just like, oh, this is not for me.
yeah, I mean, I think like my uncle had a ranch, and all the kids who grow up doing that, they grow up doing it. It's not something, it didn't feel like it was something you could like decide to be. It's something that you just are. You either are it. You're either born doing that or you're not. And to actually decide as an adult, like I'm going to go be a cowboy on a ranch is like a hard thing. You can't just like knock on the door and show up and be like, hey, let me do this. They'll be like, you don't know how.
I have my spurs. I have a 10-gallon hat. What do you mean?
And you were supposed to learn how to do this when you were 5.
Is it pretty? It's family, right? Like usually it's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
You kind of, yeah, people grow up doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like my uncle did it and he actually did not grow up on one.
Mm.
But he went to college and got a degree in agriculture, I think. And his wife grew up on a ranch, and so he ended up working that ranch, and then it ended up being their ranch. And that seems like how that kind of thing happens. But other than that, in that town, unless you're going to provide some kind of professional service that's needed, which most of those jobs are filled, you can't like start a new. In some place that small, like you don't need 2 of everything.
Like town doctors.
Yeah, you need 1, 2, maybe 3. Yeah, there's not that many things to do.
Yeah. Well, what is the reality of ranching? Because I've maybe only seen it on TV. I went to a animal sanctuary outside of LA, and
Oh, the Gentle Barn.
yes, yeah,
Love it.
Gentle Barn. Visited with horses, and
Yeah,
I was
so
surprised by
sweet.
how large cows are.
Yeah, they're big. I didn't spend that much time like around like the nuts and bolts of it, but I just was kind of aware of it happening. It's a hard job. It's busy. Because I mean, if it's calving season, you have to be out there all the time because the cows are giving birth. If there's a big blizzard, you got to go out and find them all and get them somewhere safe. Uh, you know, the they're just working all the time, really. So, my cousins, they had the ranch, and then they also had a house in town because my aunt, their mom was my middle school social studies teacher. So they were splitting their time, but their dad would be, back and forth constantly. Uh, yeah, I mean, that's about what I know about it.
So it was all consuming, in other words.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's more of like a it's not really like a job, like a 9 to 5 job.
It's like a way of life, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so then that makes more sense where you're just like you you're born to do this in a certain sense,
Mm-hmm.
not born like, biologically you are able to,
Yeah.
pull a calf out of a cow. but
Yeah.
like yeah. It's just how you do things. So did you feel like you belonged since like it seems like you didn't again, this is a small town. It seems like everyone is a rancher or I guess a teacher or a doctor
Hmm.
or one person is a doctor. And
Yeah.
then
Sometimes there were more than one. Sometimes
but
there were two or three.
but like did you feel like you belonged there?
Yes and no. I mean, and I felt like I belonged in certain places, and I think in some ways I probably felt like I wanted something else too. I mean, I think I still feel a little bit like both. I feel both ways about it, about the place. I do feel like it belongs to me in a way, but yeah, there was also like, I mean, I think I was into, art and music and history, and I think I had like thoughts about that kind of thing. And I think also, even growing up there, like my parents, I don't think they were kind of not like everybody else in the town too. They were pretty like left leaning
Mm.
politically, even though they're both from rural Nebraska, they just were had kind of a different outlook than everybody else. So I feel like I was kind of not being raised in exactly the same culture as everybody else, but also not exactly the same culture as if I had lived, in New York City or Los Angeles either.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. So maybe is that the like kernel again, armchair psychology, but like maybe that's the kernel that kind of like pushes you out of there in some way or like pushes you closer to the path you take.
Yeah, I think definitely like if you would ask me when I was in high school, like, do you want to stay in this town? I would have said no. Like because there's things because I don't want to just stay there and start a family there and just live there. Because I think there were just other things I wanted to do and other kinds of people I wanted to meet and other places to go.
I think the way that I would characterize it in my head and tell me if this is accurate or not, but like that you're ambivalent about where you grew up, where like it's this because I feel like that's the same as it was for me, but like,
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, I love the place a lot. I think it's the most beautiful place in the world. Uh, but it wasn't some place that it would have been possible for me to stay and live the life that I wanted to live. I don't think.
so I guess what I'm trying to get at is what was that life? Because I guess the thing was, I think with Stephanie and then also with myself, where I'm just like, there's a vague something, right? And you're just kind
Yeah.
of like, but like, I didn't have like a thing. And I'm just buffeted about by like my parents' desires, my kind of like amorphous wants and like what I think I'm supposed to do and all this stuff. And I think Stephanie, you were also like maybe in that bucket. But like Chris, what was the thing you wanted then?
I mean, I think in the same way it was a little bit amorphous for me too. Um, I mean, it was definitely like you should go to college. That was just kind of like an accepted thing, which I did. I was really bad at it. I think I went to college for 2 years and I have like almost a semester's worth of credits. So I did, it didn't work, but I did that in Omaha. And I was also always writing songs and like playing music. And so that was just something I think that I also was really driven to do. And I'm not entirely sure why.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So yeah, then I was in Omaha and I started to realize that like, oh, this is a place where you can like, there are venues where there's a show every single night. Like you can do that. People are doing it. It was also right at the time that like there were bands from Omaha that were like suddenly doing well. So it was like, oh, that's a thing here. And so I think college was going so badly, I was like, well, this is something that I can kind of like grab a hold of and give me some like direction or just something to do.
Well, okay, for both of you, what was the dividing line between being someone who appreciated music and being someone who wanted to make music? Do you remember that?
I feel like maybe I can. I think both. We do. I know Chris and I both appreciate music a lot, but I think we even maybe like making music more than.
But like when you were younger, there was a time where you just liked music. And then there was a time where you're like, I want to make music, right? Because that doesn't have, this is the thing that I'm fascinated by is that I've had the same background as so many other people. Why am I compelled to do this and they're not?
Okay, I know. Okay, I got you there. I got an answer for that. A couple things also with this. One was going to shows. When I was younger, it was at the time where like Kill Rock Stars and a lot of stuff was happening. So I saw a lot of women playing, which was so inspiring. Unfortunately, it was not a woman who inspired me to play bass, though. It was a man. It was Mike Watt. And I saw him play, and he was singing and playing bass, like just the way he just controlled it and was all over the place and so entertaining. And I was like, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. And then again, meeting more people that were playing music too. And I formed an all-girl band and we just started playing really. But I was inspired by seeing other people doing it. And all the cool music coming out in the 90s, like, early 90s was so inspiring. And I played piano as a kid, not like Chris. I played, Chris was like very... took a lot of lessons and really learned a lot of theory and stuff. I like dabbled, but I loved it. And I always played piano around the house forever. Like it was always playing. But then that's when I decided I wanted to play bass at 15 when I saw Mike Watt.
Yeah. What was it about, like if I can push you just a little further?
Yeah, sure,
like,
of course.
Was it just, oh, this is fun? Was there something more? Not that can't just be there's plenty of things I like.
Yeah.
Also, the number of like career decisions that I made where I'm just like, that looks not fun, so I'm not going to do that. So,
there was something that happened when even back when I was playing piano as a kid, just messing around on the piano, and when I started like picked up a bass and started like learning it, I think I caught on pretty quick. It felt really natural. It calmed me in a way in my brain. Like I'm not a hyperactive person at all, but my brain is very hyperactive. So people wouldn't consider me, I'm pretty mellow to most people, but my brain is not. And playing really calmed me, and it just felt, just feelings hard to put into words, how the calming and just the peace it brought. It brought me peace, I guess. Yeah.
I've been thinking about that a lot lately. A lot, lady. Hey, lady. I've been thinking about this a lot. I've been thinking about this a lot lately in that there is a visceral component to a lot of, I was going to say art and maybe just say art in general, right? Where for a lot of people that I talk to on the show or in my life, around, where it's just like, it felt right. That it feels like that sentiment seems to.
That's it. And I feel like not to like veer our conversation, but with Chris and I together, we're both very visceral players. We play just by feel, and together we're able to really just like not think and play, and it's that that special feeling. And I think that's why we musically connected, which was nice after we were already together, because I think it's that we both have that like just visceral, it just feels right.
I've been thinking about this a lot lately because guys, I think about 2 or 3 things a lot lately. Okay.
Okay, got it.
My wife is a stand-up and an actor and a writer too, and we do a lot of stuff together. And one of the things we do is a podcast where we talk to actors and stand-ups about relationships and therapy, okay? And we answer listeners' advice questions. So we get a lot of advice questions about romantic relationships. And the thing that I think I've come to recently is that so much you can because everyone's app-based. We got together 16 years ago. So before I think you guys, right?
Yeah.
Before apps were really a thing. I think, I was on OkCupid for about a week. And that was before it was a thing on your phone. It was just, on your computer.
Right.
And there's all these things where people want to if you put this in your profile, all these data points, right? In this kind of techified hellscape we live in. And I don't know if there's any of that. You could have the perfect person on paper and then you meet them and it's just dull, right?
Sure. Of course.
So much of, I think, both romantic and creative relationships is just chemistry. And you want to you might want to try to put some kind of oh, well, we're like this or this or this, that. But really, when you said that you guys are both visceral players, it made me think, I'm just oh, I bet that it's just the way you bounce off each other.
It is. That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Oh,
no, you go ahead.
I think it's really, really easy for us to play together, and we don't have to really plan it out that much, and we don't have to think that much. We can just kind of feel our way around it, and we have enough. Just something about it just works. Because sometimes you'll play with people and be they're really good, but I feel in order for me to make this thing sound like I want it to sound, it's going to be a real struggle against what they seem like they want it to sound like. And maybe we could work it out, but it's going to be a lot of work and a lot of negotiating and a lot of trying to manage each other's egos and not step on each other's toes. But sometimes when you play with somebody, it's just those problems aren't there. And it's just really easy.
Yeah.
And I think for us, it's always been easy. I think since the first time we tried to play together, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. I think that's really something I'm coming to, which is that, hey, if this project or whatever is so difficult, maybe just don't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Past 40, we don't want that.
But if whenever I go into if I sell I've made my living mostly selling things that never get turned into anything, right? But I go into them all being okay, there's a core idea here, and I know that someone's paying me to create it. They're gonna have input, and as long as I protect the core idea, all right, fine. And then okay, I'll take this note or this note. And then, but after a while, even when you're trying to protect that core idea, at some point, if you're just taking other people's notes, it deforms. If they have their want and it's at diametrically opposed to yours, your creative wants, it's not going to ever. And it's taken us a long time to kind of and I say us because my wife, Naomi, too, also has learned that, where it's there's only so much you can do before someone else chips away at what you want to do, and then you're no longer making the thing you want to make.
Totally. I think that is part of what you're saying is exactly why, well, not completely why, but a reason that we were so happy to make our record just exactly what it is, which is nothing added. It's just the songs. You know what I mean? No one, Pierre, who recorded it, was there and obviously had a part in it because he was, picking the sounds, going through, the mics, whatever. I sounded so old. Sounds going through the mics. So I don't know what I'm talking. But you know what I mean? It's just pure and it's the pure form of the song.
Yeah. I want to ask Chris, I want to get his side of the question I asked, but this is looping back around to the beginning again, where the idea of not selling out, where you kind of what is your one's ability? And I'm not saying you or me but anyone to be able to make the thing they want to make in a world where everything is becoming a commodity. If it isn't already a commodity, if it's not just in the process of transforming into a commodity, it already is a commodity. How does one protect that thing?
It's so hard. It's I feel like it's near impossible these days. It's really difficult. I mean, even like we feel like you have to do an Instagram post, right? For the label and let everyone know what's going on. And even while doing that, my 90s DIY punk friends are in my head like, don't do it. You're going to embarrass yourself. It's hard. It's all hard.
Do both of you think that hurts the integrity of the art, though? Because I've thought about it like this. As long as the art is itself.
Yeah, you're right.
And no one else has told me what to do with it, then at least I have that. And then sure, I have to make a video or something like that.
No, you're right. That's second to the art. You're right about that. It's a separate thing.
But it could impinge upon it. It could actually, like, if it's, say you sell a song, you're like, well, I got to sell the licensing for this song. And then like Raytheon buys it for their bomber commercial or something like that does affect it. Right.
Okay. Here's it still okay. I guess to me, it's still making the song, creating the song feels great, but it feels like it takes away from that even when posting the post. You know what I mean? Like when hitting, send or whatever post, then I'm like, oh, it feels like I made that song to sell it.
Yeah.
And that wasn't why I made the song. We made the song because we loved making it, not to sell it. You know what I mean? And the minute you post about it, you're like, oh, that like feels like it took away from it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like just releasing things in general, there's that weird feeling where like all of a sudden this thing doesn't feel like the thing I made for me. And it's hard you feel different about it once it's like out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've called it before, like the cocaine crash kind of feeling where you're on such a high when you're making this thing and it's like the best feeling and you're elated, and then all the like talks about, whatever, press and labels and, it takes away a little, you crash back but down to earth.
Yeah.
And it's like a real, it's something that it's something you have to do, and it's not horrible. It's just hard to detach it sometimes.
Yeah. The act of making art in a capitalist society is, I am very uncomfortable with it. Even doing this for a living, it makes me very uncomfortable.
I know, it's hard. And it's not bad. It's okay to, like, I think you should make money, Andy, doing what you're doing. I think we should make money doing what we're doing. I think it's okay to. It's just hard to sit with sometimes, right?
Well, let me ask this. When you were growing up, did you idealize, and I feel like maybe the answer is just yes for at least you, Stephanie, but like, did you idealize the act of making art as a thing that is like,
yes,
I'm not a spiritual person, but in my mind, that's what I'm kind of like aiming. Like, I'm like, there is something like that about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's what I like about doing it, is that feeling.
And then once you hit the mundane stuff about like, well, how much are we going to charge on Bandcamp? And like, how much what is the, I don't know,
what's the single?
Just having to think about your songs in a way that you've never thought about them, especially when you're visceral, when you're writing and creating, then having to like logically think about these things, it takes a little something away temporarily, but it does.
But I understand, like, Chris, when you were saying that, like, once it's out in the world, it's not just like the worldly stuff. It's that suddenly the way that you connected with the work that you made, now suddenly you are seeing it through the eye. At least this is me. I wonder if this is you're now suddenly seeing it through everyone else's eyes, and that changes your own relationship to the thing you made.
It does. And it is like a hard thing to deal with because like you said, when you're making it, you have like a personal relationship with the thing you made and you feel a certain way about it. And even like once it's out there and even like playing the songs, it's like, oh, it doesn't feel quite the same to do this as it did when it didn't exist, kind of.
Yeah. Okay, last question then, Chris. I wanted to get your side of this. What was the dividing line for you between being someone who liked art or who was a piano teacher for some of the other kids to someone who was like, well, now instead of just teaching Debussy, or how do you pronounce that person's name? Instead of just teaching Satie or whatever, right? Now I want to write my own compositions. What was that line?
I really don't know. I mean, I know like I started playing piano when I was pretty young just because I really wanted to. Other people in my family could kind of, even if they could only play a little bit, I was like, well, I need to be able to do that too. And then at some point, I started writing songs in middle school or somewhere around there. And I think it just felt like if you're gonna, if you want to be in a band, you have to do that. Like you're supposed to write songs. And so I just kind of started doing it. But I don't really remember like a big like moment where I was like, I'm gonna do this thing.
So, like, I don't really mean that it was like it felt like it was an obligation, like not that, but just like you're like, well, if I'm gonna do this, I guess I have to. Like almost like well, that's what you again, like cattle ranching. That's what you just it comes along with the idea, like with cattle ranching.
And I think it just also once you start doing it a little bit, it's kind of addictive because making things feels like magic, kind of. And you're like, wow, even if it's bad, and definitely the first songs I wrote were bad. And it feels like, wow, like that thing came out of me somehow. And I want to do that again. What were you going to say, Stephanie?
I just really think that you should share with Andy your first song that you wrote. It's so good.
I definitely cannot.
Please. Okay, Andy, we'll email you sometime. You got It's so good.
Was it called I Love Ronald Reagan? Was it?
It was not.
No, it was not.
It was about fruits, different types of fruits.
He was a kid.
I was probably like 7.
It's so good.
Sounds great to me.
Yeah, it was about grapes are made into wine, apples are red and they shine, plums are purple like grapes, and bananas are eaten by apes. I think those were the lyrics.
So you were already okay, yeah. So there was like a propensity for it already when you were young that then kind of blossomed.
Yeah, I think it was just, and I think my favorite part of like playing piano when I was a kid was not learning compositions, which I would, I mean, I had recitals and whatever, and I would always procrastinate and wait till the last minute to really start practicing hard and kind of cram and try to like get it ready. But I could just sit and make stuff up all day because that part is the part that feels good to do, to me anyway.
Yeah. Okay, last question then, if you'll indulge me. Do you think there was a moment where you were just like, oh, this is not just like something we like doing, but like this is a lifelong practice for both of us?
Like a specific moment?
Yeah, it doesn't, I mean, or just like when you realized it, or when you thought like, because I was thinking about like, I'm just like, oh, even if like I couldn't make money doing this, I would still be writing, or I would still be like podcasting or whatever. Like I would still be having these conversations.
I don't know exactly when, but sometime around my early mid 20s, I think my relationship to making things shifted from it being sometimes sort of like a struggle to being something that felt really natural and like easy and good. And I think at that point it was like, kind of felt like, why would I stop doing this? Like I would write songs even if we were never going to make another record. I was never going to play them in front of anybody because it's just like something that I like to do.
Do you know what prompted that shift?
I don't know exactly. I think, I was writing songs a lot, and I think maybe it was just the moment where like I had enough practice at it that it became not something I had to fight with anymore. And it just was like, or maybe I wrote enough bad songs that I realized how not to do it. I don't know. But like, it was all of a sudden like, oh, this is just like it's like you might like sit around and like daydream, but like instead of just sitting around daydreaming, like it's a song. And like once it became like that, it's like, this is just like a pleasant activity.
I get it. Yeah. What about you, Stephanie?
I guess I may I made the decision probably, I was already playing around, like I said, 15, but around 18, 19, I was starting to go to college and I kept leaving to go on tour, like mid-semester. And I think at that point I was like, well, this is what I love to do. So even, I'm going to put that before everything else. So there's always been other things, but I knew that was the first priority at that point. You know what I mean? And so that was just going to be something that I was going to be doing. Now that I have a career, it's still, in a way, it's not first priority in the way I have to pay bills, obviously, but it comes before most other things besides my family and my career,
Yeah.
It just became something that I knew that I just was going to do.
So do you think you were a self-aware person? Because the way that you had kind of like depicted yourself was when you were younger was that kind of like, well, you followed like what you wanted to do. But it also it doesn't seem like you just kind of like, flitted about. It felt like you were pretty self-aware in that like, oh, I do like this. I'm going to prioritize, like,
yeah.
I don't know if this is how you said it, but like, I only get one life. I've got to prioritize, the things that are good in it.
I mean, I think for whatever reason, that is kind of just how I've always lived. Yeah. I prioritize the things that make me feel good, that are healthy at least, and make me feel good. And music was definitely that for me. It was healthy for me, and it is healthy for me. That it makes me, like I said, it brings me that peace and that calm. And I do feel, as cheesy as it may sound, but I do feel most myself. I feel very comfortable on stage. I feel very comfortable playing an instrument. I don't feel like I have to go on stage and perform and be like a character. I feel like me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
It's a very comfortable place for me, and
that's good.
Makes me happy. Thanks, babe.
Guys, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah,
thanks, Andy.
Absolute delight. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. So nice to talk to you and meet you, and you have such great questions, and it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, oh, bye, oh, bye, oh, bye, oh, bye, oh, bye, oh, bye.